Hello, my name is Chris Dwayne. You may know me as Silver Shield from Don't Tread on Me and the Sons of Liberty Academy. I want to thank you today for coming to this very important and possibly life-changing presentation. I have dedicated my life to educating people about the coming collapse of the dollar and the ramifications of that collapse. I have dedicated my life to waking people up to how the world really works, so that we can end this cycle of debt and death throughout the world. I believe that if enough people understand that world, we can replace debt with equity, replace bombs with freedom, and we can create a new paradigm for humanity. Now, before you roll your eyes at another utopian idea, let me tell you that there is nobody more cynical than me. I have seen with my own eyes not only the radical changes in my life, but the others that I have worked with. Things are speeding up. It took thousands of years to go through the agricultural revolution. It took hundreds of years to go through the industrial revolution. It took decades to go through the information revolution. Now we are on the verge of an awareness revolution, where humanity can finally use all the knowledge from all three revolutions to build something that resonates with what we are and what we are meant to be. The thing that makes me most excited is that the old order is about to die of its own cancerous excesses, and we don't even have to lift a finger to affect any real change. When this paradigm dies, humanity will have the knowledge, the means of communication, and the incentive to start a new paradigm where humanity can rise to its highest and best self. Until that day, we have helped awaken and change lives of thousands of people all over the world. We are in the process of creating generational wealth, both in terms of real tangible assets, but more importantly, living a life fully awake and totally free. I'm here today to announce something that should make you extremely excited about where we are going. I'm going to be covering my ultimate exit strategy that I'm sure that all of you are going to want to hear. I believe this one game-changing strategy will help create generational wealth. I'm going to share the details of my largest project ever, The Greatest Truth Never Told. I'm going to be covering two new initiatives to help me better serve you, called the Silver Shield Report and the Maverick Mastermind. Finally, I'm going to cover the newest and best way to buy physical silver. This program is something that I've been developing for months with my friend and partner, Drew Mason. I have no doubt this will blow the doors off the physical silver investment market, and you will not want to miss this. Before I get ahead of myself, let us see what we have done here in a relatively short period of time. In the past 8 months, Don't Tread on Me has had over 1.4 million visits, 670,000 unique visitors. Some of the most notable articles from Don't Tread on Me were The Silver Bullet and the Silver Shield, The 5 Stages of Awakening, The Trivium, The Key to Freedom, The 2 Coming American Revolutions, Beware of Patriot Pied Pipers, The Rise of the Anti-Hegemon, The Game Changer, Unite or Die, A Decade of Denial and Deception, and hundreds more. We now have 35 contributors to Don't Tread on Me, and it has helped broaden the message and grow our outreach program to awaken more people. Don't Tread on Me was designed to wake people up and lead them to the Sons of Liberty Academy. The Sons of Liberty Academy is my project that I spent 6 years in research and development for. It is the first and only formalized attempt at the awakening process on how the world really works. In February, I took a leap of faith, not only to make the Academy free, but also to leave my 6-figure job to pursue this passion full-time. We now have over 18,000 members to our free Sons of Liberty Academy and our newsletter. I know without a doubt we have changed a lot of lives forever through all the hard work we have done to wake people up. These two projects will continue to grow and reach more people as a very dark reality sits upon humanity. My hope is that the work will not help just thousands, but millions of people as humanity goes through the 5 stages of awakening. Both projects have been great to do and hugely successful on all accounts, but I feel it's time to move on to the next phase. As you all know, that I've never been accused of being a small-minded individual that just goes along with the crowd. My hallmark has always been to be counter-cyclical and stay ahead of the curve. I did this when I sold my house at the top of the housing bubble in 2005 for a 600% return on investment. I did this by literally betting the house on gold, silver, and oil in 2005, and so far we're looking at a 500% return on investment. I did this by not investing in a bank with my partners in 2007. It's an estimated 60% loss in the invested equity, and that doesn't even account for inflation. I did this by walking away from my inheritance my income, my profession, my home, and my family in May of 2008 to leave the car business permanently. And since then, there was an estimated 60% loss in business with all the debts that are still there. I did this in getting involved in teaching people about foreclosure investment in 2009. And if you don't know, foreclosure business was very hot right after the crash. And I also did this by starting Don't Tread on Me in the Academy in 2011. This staying ahead of the curve has netted me an estimated 3,750% return on investment since I first put a deposit on my house down in 1999. I don't know too many other investors who have done that ever, but I'm sure that there aren't too many that did that during this past decade. I'm not telling you about this to gloat. I'm telling you about this because what I'm going to show you today, I believe, will make that achievement look like nothing. We all see that this dollar paradigm thrives on spreading debt and death throughout the world, and it's coming to a mathematically inevitable end. This is going to be the single largest event in human history with the largest wealth transfer ever. There will not be one single person on earth that their lives are not dramatically affected by this single event. This is going to be a horrible event for most of the people out there, with the loss of entire life savings, the inevitable riots, starvation, and wars. I can also tell you that it's not going to be that way for everyone and everywhere. I wrote an article called "The Meek Shall Inherit the Earth," because after doing 80 one-on-one personal strategy sessions in a week and a half, I saw the awesome quality of the people that we've attracted with our message, and that this is something very special we need to do something with. I strongly believe that this group is going to create generational wealth, not only in terms of silver, but being fully aware and totally free. In order to take this to the next level, we have to build a real community and have an exit strategy. In order for us to move forward, I cannot keep spending my time trying to wake people up. I need to work with those that are awake and start building something strong enough to build a new paradigm off of. I have 3 big steps that we're going to announce today in our way forward as we head into these dark days. This will only be available for the next week, so please pay attention to what I'm saying. You may not be able to grasp the magnitude of what I'm going to propose today, but I hope that you have enough confidence in me, given my track record, to join me in this next phase. The first step is Project Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness. The next step is Project Constitutional Silver. And finally, Ultimate Exit Strategy. The first 2 projects are necessary in order for the final project to become a reality. Like all good plans, let us start with the end in mind. The Ultimate Exit Strategy. The idea behind this project is that we can create a new paradigm, one that reflects our highest and best self. I am certain that this is very attainable at a very local level, but I believe that we can reach much further than that if we get enough critical mass. My effort to educate people on silver has never been about dollar profits. I have always been focused on the end of the dollar paradigm and having real tangible wealth to survive and thrive the single largest event in human history, the mathematically inevitable collapse of the dollar. I believe that when this event happens, we will see 2 very different Americas when the dollar collapses. With the collapse of the dollar paradigm, we are going to see a massive decentralization of power as all power structures crumble to the most local and responsive levels. Urban areas will have unprecedented human suffering, as those that are hopelessly dependent upon the debt paradigm will be totally unprepared for its collapse. This will lead to massive violence, and the worst in humanity will come out. Think of Hurricane Katrina without the hope of ever getting help. Most of these cities will eventually be brought under some sort of fascist police state, as mayors like Mike Bloomberg and Rahm Emanuel will no doubt bring down the heavy collectivist hand to restore order to their little kingdom. Police checkpoints, the elimination of privacy and property, and some sort of government debt card program, or something much worse. The rest of the country is going to be hurt also, but the reaction is going to be much, much different. Think of the Midwest floods and the tornadoes that ravaged the central parts of the country. You do not hear about mass shootings or looting. No, it was always marked by neighbor helping neighbor. There will be parts of this country that will quickly adapt and go to the opposite route of the collectivists in the urban areas. We are already seeing 13 states proposing gold and silver legal tender laws. Colorado, Georgia, Montana, Missouri, Indiana, Iowa, New Hampshire, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, Utah, Vermont, and Washington. When this collapse happens, one or more of these states are going to embrace their nullification powers to limit federal power and embrace the Constitution and honest money. They are going to attract the best and brightest from all over the country because they will truly value honest people and honest money. It is in one of these states that we can set about creating a world that we can be proud to leave our children. The tricky part is when and where. We do not need to worry about that right now, but it is something to be aware of and prepared for. It is also foolish to invest our money and create a community because silver is so cheap right now and land is relatively expensive. We also don't know the political future when all this happens. The point is that somewhere will be a great place to go to where there will be tremendous opportunity to build a community or a paradigm that resonates with what we are all about. While most silver experts encourage trading paper silver or mining shares, they strictly focus on the dollar gains of silver, and they completely miss the point of tangible wealth. One notable exception is Mike Maloney from goldsilver.com. I differ from Mike dramatically on how to best profit off this coming wealth cycle. Mike believes that silver will get to a point where 500 ounces of silver will be able to buy a typical house. His plan is to sell your silver to the suckers at the top and buy income-producing property on the cheap. I feel my exit strategy is superior to Mike's simply because I believe that we have a much more realistic version of the next paradigm, and my strategy will not only be tax-free, it will go one step deeper than anyone has thought of before. Let me just say that I do respect Mike Maloney and all of his hard work in educating society about the merits of silver, and I'm quite sure that neither Mike nor I would be so hard-nosed about our current exit strategy that we would not change if the reality was different for both of us. That being said, I would like to offer a different point of view based off of my incredible amount of research I put into the Sons of Liberty Academy. I first reject the idea that silver is going to bubble top and that you're going to have to sell to the quote-unquote suckers. Even using the term selling to suckers suggests the greater fool theory of investing, and nothing could be further from the truth. Humanity will be forced to see the root cause of this dramatic and global consequences of the largest human event in history, with the collapse of the world's economy. This is going to be a paradigm shift where all of humanity will reject collectivism, debt, and usury, the three causes of the major collapse. This event will scar humanity, and they will not fall for another debt-based Ponzi scheme very easily. Humanity will grasp onto, at some level, the intrinsic value of gold and silver. Maybe not the world over, but certainly in the 13 states that we're already looking towards gold and silver as legal tender. I believe that this will lead not to a bubble top of silver where you have to sell to the top to suckers followed by a massive crash. We will see a new paradigm where things will be measured not in terms of dollars, but in terms of ounces, simply because the dollar will not exist. I do agree that there will be a time, relatively speaking, income-producing property will be very cheap compared to silver, and I certainly plan on investing in property when the time is right. But how to best go about doing it, here again, I differ from Mike. I will never forget that silver is money and ultimately why I'm working. If we are going to have a new paradigm where the rest of the world values silver, why would I simply sell my silver to buy income-producing assets? First of all, I am sure that it will be a taxable event to sell the silver. This leads to an immediate loss on the investment capital available to deploy. Who knows what kind of windfall profit tax we might also be exposed to, but even in a tax environment that is good, why give up your silver? Before I continue, let me tell you a story about a boy named Conrad.